afternoon. Before we begin, I want to remind the committee, this is the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee, that the members and members of the public to follow our code of conduct at meetings. This includes commenting on the specific agenda item only and addressing the full body. Public speakers will not engage in conversation with council members or staff. And all members of the committee, staff, and the public are expected to refrain from abusive language. Failure to comply with the code of conduct, which will disturb, disrupt, or impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, will result in removal from the meeting. And with that, I will call the meeting of the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee to order. And I think we all just sign in, and all members of the committee are present, so we don't need to call the roll. So we will move to the consent calendar. We don't have anything on the work plan. Is there anything, Angel, is there anything for the work plan that we need to discuss? Okay, so we'll move to the consent calendar. There is one item on the consent calendar. Do any members want to comment on the consent calendar?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have public comment?
We have no public comment. Do we have anybody else?
No public comment? Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ortiz, did you have a question?
I thought Omar did, but he was joking with me.
Oh, he was, okay. All right, we're ready for the vote. All right, that motion passes unanimously. So we will move on to our one discussion item for the day. It is the Resilience Corps Climate Change Pathway Status Report. And Avi, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Good afternoon. My name is Avi Otam, Deputy Director of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. And I'm here today to introduce the team that's working on an impactful program, the Climate Change Pathway of the Resilience Corps. This program that began barely 2 years ago has already produced impressive results, and it's on its way to making a long-lasting impact. Here to present today are Division Manager Tori O'Reilly and Analyst Lisa Diebolt, who are the brain trust of the program and run it for PRNS, and Parks Recreation Facilities Supervisor Joan Nguyen, who's one of our park supervisors working with the Resilience Corps every day and mentoring and coaching them as they move into their careers. With that, I'll turn it over to Tori.
Thank you, Avi, and thank you for having us here to present this. In the winter of 2021, our country was deep into COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in many Americans being deeply affected financially by job loss or reduction in wages. To address this, the federal government passed the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, funding $1.9 trillion to facilitate recovery from the impacts of the virus. The city of San Jose received $212.3 million of this funding, with $5.6 million of this going to PRNS to launch the Environmental Resilience Corps, a job program for young adults that focuses on critical areas of community and climate resistance. The Resilience Corps specifically seeks to support unemployed and underemployed young adults through a living wage employment and work experience. As our timelines for implementation of this program were short, the city chose an existing partner, the San Jose Conservation Corps, to work with us on this program implementation. The result is what today we call the Resilience Corps. Next slide. To continue the program after the initial federal funding, the City of San Jose applied and received support from the California Volunteer Program, also known as Californians for All. This new funding enabled us to continue the program into Phase 2. This funding is for 2 years with a total of $10.6 million. That's the phase we're in currently. We anticipate additional funding to allow continuation of the program through a third phase. Next slide. In addition to meeting the challenges of providing employment to youth, the program also met its environmental component and aligned with the strategic goals of Climate Smart San Jose and the strategic plan Activate San Jose for PRNS. Next slide. Thank you. As mentioned above, funding sources have allowed us to continue the programming, providing opportunities for additional groups of San Jose youth. Each funding cycle has been broken into its own separate phase. To date, the program has had 2 phases, and we are looking to a 3rd phase coming in 2024. The biggest difference between the phases is eligibility requirements per the grants. Next slide. Each phase consists of 3 components to provide the best experience for the core members and inspire program improvement. The phases of each are as follows: orientation and training, work experience and case management, outcome tracking, analysis, and continual improvement. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Joe Nguyen, who's going to speak about the core member experience.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So each core member receive a week-long comprehensive training designed to provide them with skills and certifications that allow them success in the field as corp members and avenues to future employment. Next slide. Once all orientation training is completed, corp members are ready for the field work. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Corp members receive a week-long comprehensive training designed to provide them with skills certification that allow them successful in the field as corp members and avenue to future employment. Here we go. Once all orientation training is complete, corp members are ready for the field work. There are 2 separate pathways, the city pathway and the partner pathway. As you can see from the slide, under the city pathway, corp members receive a variety of different experience to ready them for the real-world job opportunities. Next slide.
In fall 2022, San Jose Conservation Corps and PRNS partnered to develop an externship program as an additional step to the Resilience Corps program. This externship gives Resilience Corps members an opportunity to work directly with park districts and other city maintenance teams once they've completed 3 months in the San Jose Conservation Corps model. This is their opportunity to step outside of their familiar core model while still having the support of wraparound services offered by the San Jose Conservation Corps. To date, we have had 44 externs in various maintenance teams with the Parks Division, some with Beautify San Jose, and others with the Department of Transportation. As vacancies in park maintenance were high this year, the externship program was a huge asset to park maintenance teams. Interns were treated like any other staff member and became part of the team. The program has been a valuable pipeline to assist in filling these vacancies. The most recent maintenance assistant recruitment saw 9 Resilience Corps members hired into full-time positions and 17 into part-time positions. As we speak, more promotions are in progress. The department also worked with HR to establish a process for directly hiring Resilience Corps members as part-time maintenance assistants. Next slide. The overall goal of the Resilience Corps program is to assist participants in finding meaningful employment post-program. To be sure that the program is proving successful, we track 3 measures: positive outcome, no outcome, and retention rate. The positive outcome means that the participant has completed at least 520 hours and left the program to pursue employment or further education. No outcome means that participants either did not complete their hours or left the program with no prospective employment and were not enrolled in further education. The retention rate measures the number of participants who completed their hours. At the beginning of the program, the numbers tend to be higher for no outcome as participants drop out early. However, as the program concludes, the positive outcome rate typically increases as participants have completed their hours and have been able to establish the appropriate support and connections to pursue school or employment. This is why for phase 2, which is still in progress, we see a 40% for no outcome. The environment pathway was developed with climate change goals in mind, and on this slide you will see metrics for phase 1 and phase 2. These metrics include the number of trees maintained, trash collected, and vegetation removed, including fire fuel reduction activities. As Resilience Corps participants are in our parks completing the projects, they are also tracking these metrics. Notable locations include over 1 million of square feet of fire fuel reduction at Alum Rock, over 500 trees maintained at Lake Cunningham Park, 150 bags of trash collected along the Guadalupe River Trail, and over 30 cubic feet of vegetation removed from overfilled gardens.
In addition to the measurable outcomes Lisa just spoke about, many of our core members experienced non-measurable life-changing experiences. We wanted to share 3 of those with you today. So I'll start out. One of the core members that I have become familiar with was telling me before the Resilience Corps he was involved in gangs, and there had been an incident with one of his close friends, and he was scared and didn't know what to do. With the Resilience Corps, he had a path out of the gangs, and he went through the program, went through the externship, and has recently become a full-time benefited city employee. Looking forward to a long career.
I have another one. It's a court member who completed the resiliency program, the internship program, and was hired on with the city. Along the way, he lost a place to stay, so he slept at his friend's home and sometime in his vehicle. He worked, saved his money, and was looking for a place to rent. He approached me one day and asked if I could be a reference for him. The manager called because he's only 20 years old, asking if his ability to pay rent and his just reliability with work. I vouched for him. He currently has a place we call home. He's actually on his way to basically a better future.
Another member who was hired on full-time as a part-time or as a full-time maintenance assistant shared during the offer process that she was the first person in her family to have a job with benefits.
You've heard about the program from us. We want to take a minute, show you a very quick video, and let the core members speak for themselves. Oh, I is missing a slide. Okay. We can go back to the other slide. Forgive me. All right. So as we mentioned, we are on phase 2 of our program. So next steps. So Resilience Corps 3.0, the state grant has been awarded and is pending. We're working closely with the HR department to streamline hiring of Resilience Corps participants. In fact, we just did our first direct placement interviews this week. And we're coordinating with the San Jose Public Library on implementing the City Council approved college and career readiness standards. Next slide. And now let's hear from the core members themselves.
It's not going to work.
Okay. Okay. It's all good. Okay, well, thank you for your time today. You know, just to go off script for a minute, when we first implemented the Resilience Corps, we had a 33% vacancy rate in park maintenance. And the idea of additional help for our maintenance staff seemed great, and that was our primary focus. But over the 2 years and seeing the impacts that we've made on the lives of the individuals and how many, you know, are looking like they're gonna have a career path forward with us, not only in park maintenance, but also in Department of Transportation. With Beautify San Jose, we're working on expanding the internship program to ESD. I'm super excited about what we're doing in the future, and I can honestly say this is one of the proudest things I'm most proud of in my career. So thank you for your attention today. Please accept the Resilience Corps Climate Change Pathway Status Report, and we're open to any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you very much for that report. It's all good news. Councilmember Ortiz.
Any public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit out of it today. Do we have any public comment on this item?
We have no public comment.
Okay, great. Councilmember Ortiz.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much, Chair Davis, and thank you for the report. Really appreciate all of our PRNS staff and your leadership in making sure that this endeavor is a fruitful one, and it's inspiring to hear about the opportunities that are being offered to our young adults that are going through this program. I do have a few questions regarding the report. The testimonials shared were fantastic, truly life-changing. These opportunities have been for these individuals. I'm hoping that maybe we could dive a little bit deeper into these data points on the percentages. Specifically on the participant outcomes, I wanted to make sure that we are specifically speaking to the success of the program. And when we utilize general terms like positive outcomes, right? Great, I love positive outcomes, I want positive outcomes, but what does that mean essentially, right? It's a very broad category, and there could be greater details of what's going on with these individuals, like maybe there could be a definition of what good categories are. They're no longer living in poverty, they have a good paying job, they're on track, they're fully enrolled in college or something like that. I think that could help me have, or us have a better understanding of what track to success looks like for these youth. Specific question to that, what other metrics is the department considering capturing to give a detailed picture of the success of the program? And if you haven't thought about it, that's okay too.
To answer the positive outcome question, a positive outcome is, the program is considered a part-time position, so 1,040 hours. So as long as they complete that many hours and get a job or go on to enroll in school, that's considered a positive outcome. However, if someone completes 520 hours and leaves the program to also pursue school or employment, so if they drop out early, that's still considered a positive outcome because they were still in the program long enough to help make some kind of impact and get them going in that direction.
And to speak to your second question, and I hope I'm answering it correctly, we do plan on tracking the Resilience Corps members that we've hired and, over time seeing where their career paths are. I know the Conservation Corps continues to track their outcomes, and they're working on tracking them for a couple of years afterwards. One of the other things we're looking at is, because we're under-resourced to do maintenance, we've been, with our park condition assessment scores last year, we took some of our lowest scoring areas and we directed Resilience Corps members there, and we focused, some projects there. And so we're looking for a correlation between utilizing the Resilience Corps in those areas and an increase in scores. And we're open to suggestions if you feel there's any other items that we should track.
No, I appreciate, are you going to speak, Avi? No? Okay. No, I appreciate that. You've heard me before say workforce development is very important to me. Pathways to careers are very important to me, and I hope we're utilizing the skills in our very own backyard to fill the vacancies that we have. Given that we're short on time, I want to skip through a little bit, but obviously, District 5, and we're talking about park maintenance, and we have the lowest rated parks throughout the city of San Jose. So I'm interested in seeing, if we can leverage the climate change pathways to kind of raise the conditions of these lower rated parks? Is there some sort of mechanism that the city has in place where if, a district is rated the lowest, it could get some sort of like equitable attention from, or could that be something that we could consider?
Sure, that is actually something we consider. We take the park condition assessment scores, and then we also utilize the Healthy Places Index and Heat Island Index, and now we're also using a tree equity index, and that's how we're redirecting those. So if we have a finite number of core hours, we are redirecting them to those areas first. And I think you're going to see some positive improvements this year based on that.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Well, thank you for your thoughtful hours. I really see, the Corps as a well-positioned program to assist us fill some of these vacancies, and I love to see these youth come out of these programs with hands-on skill development and a career in a field. Great if it's in the field they're trained for, but I hope that there's some sort of pass off where they're going into a program where regardless of where they go, they could get a career that's meaningful and pays a livable wage. So thank you.
If I could just add one more item.
I forgot to move it too. Yeah.
So in terms of, meaningful career pathways, recently the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services Parks Division has eliminated some of those barriers to, some people just aren't college people, and to move up to like a supervisor level, it's a work experience base, not necessarily you have to have the education base. And so when we talk to the interns, we talk about the sky's the limit and this is where you can go.
That's beautiful. That's the type of stuff that I think the city should be doing. I know that corporations in Silicon Valley have started to move away from degree requirements for specific positions, and our city shouldn't trail them as well. That being said, I would like to move for the approval of the report.
Second.
Thank you.
Yeah, along those lines, I wanted to also add that one other byproduct, although this wasn't the overarching goal, but one of the other end results has been that we hired over 24 Resilience Corps members into the city, and about 10 of those full-time positions. So that's another kind of intentional approach around, we're going to hear a lot more about cradle-to-career options at our next meeting, but this is one example of where we're intentionally going out to specific neighborhoods and really trying to create pathways into city employment. So I wanted to emphasize that.
Councilmember Torres?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for the presentation. So this is a true pipeline program, right? Angel just said it, right? We want these students from the Resiliency Corps to actually come into our city and work in the various departments, not just doing maintenance at PRNS or ESD, but really working with our DOT, our Public Works, our Environmental Services Department, right, et cetera, et cetera. And so, and I'm not gonna repeat what Councilmember Ortiz said, but it is important. It is important for these kids to work for our city. It is important that they are getting the resources they need, right? I also saw some of the testimonials, and it's really important that we are working with them when it comes to their mental health and their substance abuse, right? And it's also touching. Like the very first time I was able to get braces was having a city job, right? And that was not too long ago, by the way. And I just took them off not too long ago. But right, so city jobs are for our youth in our underserved areas as well. And with that, I know we're really short on time, so I have two quick questions, and I hope that you're able to answer them. One of them is, I heard that there was a 33% vacancy rate in our PRNS before this program took off. What is it now? Because I know one of our biggest complaints, and of course Councilmember Ortiz said it, one of our biggest complaints as council members is that we don't maintain our parks. So it was 33%. What is it now with our Resiliency Corps?
So the Resilience Corps is one of our key strategies for driving down that vacancy rate. The last dashboard I saw about a month ago, within park maintenance, we were down to, I think, either 20 or high teens, and that number is expected to go down again We're rolling through recruitments right now, and as people are getting promoted, the Resilience Corps is coming right in and filling all those new positions that are becoming vacant. So this is how we're expecting to get into the low teens, or maybe a dream would be single digits again, but that's how we're driving down. So we've filled a lot of the gaps, still further to go, and we're in great partnership with HR to keep moving on that.
Great, thank you, Avi. Okay, and the other one is, I'm big on planting trees. I come from a neighborhood that didn't have any trees. And I lived right around the corner from Willow Glen that had a lot of lush, beautiful green trees. So it's great that our Resiliency Corps is maintaining our trees in our city of San Jose, but what's even more important is planting trees. So does our Resiliency Corps also plant trees to make beautiful neighborhoods as well?
We do have, when we talked about the partner pathway, we do have some of the core members that are working with our city forest planting trees. But we do have them planting trees as part of the internship when they're at the different park districts.
Okay, and that's obviously from the program that we've been pushing on planting more trees with the millions of dollars that we've given other orgs to do it, right? Okay, great. Well, that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think we're ready to vote on this item. All right, that motion carries unanimously, and we can move on to, thank you so much for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We can move on to open forum.
We have one public speaker card. Blair Beekman, please make your way down to the podium. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thank you for 2 minutes. From the past 100 plus years of tech inventiveness and communication in Santa Clara Valley, it has been how to better consider human beings and human society in hopeful, reasonable, intelligent, good terms. I hope to remind a past role of San Jose as a large city has been as a good mediator and facilitator for the ideas and needs of other smaller South Bay cities. In the present day, I hope San Jose will want to more openly address how tech accountability guidelines can offer cooperation, open dialogue, positive sustainability, and can better define the ideas of participatory democracy. From school age to our regular lives and everyday community, and as we become elders and old, tech accountability teaches responsibility and gives good civic lessons based on openness and how good civil protections can more responsibly address the inventiveness of tech itself. By San Jose City government and community wanting to practice these ideas together, I feel it will eventually attract the AI businesses San Jose is looking for and who will want to share the same values of responsibility, openness, and accountability with tech. And as we simply should be all concerned at this time in current prognostications that the future of AI may simply be the end of much of mankind. I feel at this time it is important we address tech accountability with openness, dialogue, and that we try to practice our better overall ideals at this time, and that our good ideals and practices at the local level at this time simply can be good examples of how to introduce responsible AI practices in the future of San Jose, and to help work towards peace, dialogue, and negotiation in the Middle East at this time as well. Thank you.
Thank you, and now on to Zoom. We have a caller resident. You're unmuted. You can now speak.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. I wanted to express concern about recent events in San Jose um, involving protecting children. I mean, there was a recent death from fentanyl. A toddler unfortunately passed away, and the county admits that they did drop the ball on this, and I think it goes. The issue with protecting children in San Jose and in our county I mean, it's a much greater problem than this one incident. And I wanted to give you an example that you guys could consider. My kids are being sexually abused, and I've reported this to the police, San Jose PD, and I've reported it to the district attorney's office and the board of supervisors. And nobody's willing to do anything because there happens to be a conflict of interest in this, and that my former attorney is involved in this. And I don't believe that that should stop anybody from protecting a child. All children deserve to be protected, and that's just not happening in the city of San Jose and the county of Santa Clara County. We're throwing the children under the bus for profit, basically, and it trickled down to this one case. I mean, I don't believe money was involved in this fentanyl death, but when you do it in one context, it really does carry over to other situations. And I mean, like this is gone beyond that. I mean, I've been assaulted.
Back to the committee.
You know, we're just going to break from protocol a little bit, just given the nature of what the gentleman said. If we could have him provide his name and number, and we could follow up privately and in confidence with respect to what he described, because we will need to, we can support him, but we also need to address it and report that. So
I greatly appreciate it. If you could tell me who I can contact to give this information, because I've been addressing this with so many different people, and nobody's been able to help me. If you could please tell me who I can contact to help me with this, because I mean it's been such an ordeal. I mean with the assaults and with what's happening to my kids, and everybody just ignoring me because of this this conflict of interest that unfortunately exists.
yes, please contact me directly. Angel Rios, that's at 408-427-7181, and we will take it from there. Did you get that number?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you will.
Thank you. And with that, this meeting is adjourned, and we will change over. It'll take us a few minutes for the joint special meeting with the County of Santa Clara and this committee. Thank you.